What if everything you thought you knew about the WNBA's hottest teams was about to unravel? The Minnesota Lynx are undefeated, 9 straight wins, statistically dominant, historically elite. But what if I told you that behind their perfect record is a near meltdown that exposed cracks nobody wants to talk about? And on the other side of the league, the Washington Mystics just blew the roof off, annihilating the Connecticut Sun by 40 points. A game so lopsided fans didn't know whether to celebrate or panic. This wasn't just another week of WNBA action, this was a turning point. A night where dynasties were questioned, underdogs rose from the shadows, and one rookie no-show sparked rumors that still haven't been addressed. So, buckle up, because what really happened in these games is deeper than the scoreboard. From last-second runs that nearly toppled a Titan, to a blowout so vicious it changed the conversation around an entire franchise. This is the story the box score doesn't tell, and what comes next might just flip the WNBA upside down. The Minnesota Lynx aren't just winning, they're steamrolling. A 9-0 start to the season, already cementing them as one of the most dangerous teams in WNBA history. Only 3 teams have ever started better, and one of them, the 2016 Lynx, the same squad that tore through the league with legends like Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, and Sylvia Fowles. That team didn't just win games, they set standards. Now, almost a decade later, a new generation is picking up the torch. And they're not just following the blueprint, they're rewriting it. This version of the Lynx is faster, more versatile, and playing with a chip on their shoulder. Every possession feels intentional, every run looks surgical, but at the heart of this machine, one name keeps rising above the rest. Napheesa Collier. The 27-year-old forward is putting up numbers that scream MVP. Against Dallas, she dropped 28 points, snagged 10 rebounds, and added 4 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. That's not just a stat line. That's leadership under pressure. She's become the engine and the anchor, blocking shots 1 minute, pulling up for a smooth jumper the next. Her presence is felt on every inch of the court, and the way she carries herself, calm, calculated, confident. It's clear this team runs through her, but here's the twist no one expected. Because even with Collier playing lights out, the Lynx were seconds away from losing control against a team that had no business being in the fight. And what happened next, in just a few minutes of game time, sent a jolt through the fan base and raised a question no one wanted to ask. Are the Lynx really as untouchable as they seem? Because what happened late in the third quarter said otherwise. For 3 quarters, it looked like business as usual. The Lynx were rolling, Dallas was reeling, another clean win on the way, right? But then something flipped. With just seconds left in the third quarter, the Dallas Wings, a team sitting on a miserable 1-8 record, came alive. They launched a stunning 17-4 run, slicing a double-digit lead down to just 1 single point. Suddenly, the Lynx weren't in control. They were holding on. And for the first time all season, Minnesota looked human. Leading the charge, Arike Ogunbowale, one of the league's most explosive scorers, who dropped 26 points and drilled 6 3-pointers like it was nothing. No hesitation, no fear, just straight buckets. Every time she pulled up, the arena held its breath. And every time she connected, the pressure on the Lynx grew heavier. But Arike wasn't doing it alone. Maddie Siegrist chipped in 15 hard-fought points, showing flashes of aggression and hustle that Dallas desperately needed. The Wings weren't just competing, they were believing. Still, something felt off, because while Dallas was storming back into the game, one name was noticeably missing. Paige Bueckers. The rookie phenom, hyped since day one, was expected to be a franchise cornerstone. But for the 4th straight game, she didn't suit up. First it was concussion protocol, then an illness, now nothing. She was cleared to play before tip-off, but never stepped on the court. No injury report, no official word, just silence. And in that silence, rumors have started to swirl. Is this really about health? Or are there deeper issues behind the scenes? Team chemistry? Internal disagreements? Something the public hasn't been told? The Wings haven't said much, but the lack of transparency is only fueling speculation. Whatever's going on, one thing's clear. Dallas is in chaos. Their season is slipping, and without Bueckers, or answers, that hole keeps getting deeper. But on this night, chaos nearly became opportunity. They pushed the Lynx to the edge, and for a moment, it looked like the streak was about to snap, until one veteran stepped in and shut the door. Just when it looked like the Lynx might crumble, Kayla McBride stepped up and ripped the momentum right out of Dallas's hands. No panic, no hesitation, just cold-blooded execution. McBride dropped 21 points, but it wasn't just the total, it was the timing. Every single shot felt like a dagger. She knocked down 6 3-pointers, and each one came at the exact moment the Wings started to breathe life back into the game. One deep pull-up shut down a Dallas run. Another broke their rhythm before it could build. It was like every shot said the same thing. Not tonight. That's what McBride brings. Veteran instincts, clutch DNA, and an unwavering calm. She's not trying to do too much. She doesn't need the spotlight. But when the team needs a reset, a bucket, or a statement, she's the one who delivers. And this wasn't just an individual performance, it was proof of why this Lynx team is different. They trust each other, they move the ball. In that game alone, 25 assists on 29 made shots. Just 6 turnovers the entire night. That's not luck, that's chemistry. McBride may not lead every stat line, but in the moments that matter, she's the one holding the rope. Because when everything started to unravel, she pulled it all back together. But while Minnesota held the line, Dallas kept unraveling, and what's happening behind the scenes might be even more explosive than what happened on the court. On paper, this game was supposed to be a blowout, and for a while it was. But after that late game surge, the Dallas Wings gave fans a glimpse of what could have been if things weren't falling apart behind the curtain. Let's be honest, this team is in trouble. Their 1-9 record isn't just bad, it's crisis mode. They've now lost 5 straight games, and every loss adds a new layer of confusion, frustration, and instability. Yes, Arike Ogunbowale is doing everything she can. She's averaging over 20 points a night, hitting impossible shots, and keeping this team in games they have no business being in. Maddie Siegrist is emerging as a bright spot too, showing signs of development and confidence. But the problem? They're alone out there. Beyond the top 2 scorers, the offense breaks down. The defense gets exposed, and the team just looks scattered. There's no cohesion, no flow, and no identity. And then there's the giant question mark, Paige Bueckers. She was supposed to be the face of the future, the rookie that would revive this franchise. But after being cleared to play, she still didn't suit up. No injury update, no coach's decision, just an empty spot on the bench and a growing cloud of speculation. Fans are starting to ask the tough questions. Is it really just lingering symptoms? Or is there something else happening? Something we're not being told. Online chatter has exploded with theories, from medical mismanagement to locker room drama to even contract-related concerns. The truth? No one knows for sure. But the silence from the organization is doing more harm than good. And while Dallas tries to manage damage control off the court, they're collapsing on it. This wasn't just another loss. It was a mirror held up to everything that's gone wrong. Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the spectrum, a very different kind of storm was brewing. One that wasn't unraveling at Soquadine, but exploding into full-blown dominance. Because while Dallas struggled to stay afloat, the Washington Mystics were making history. While the Lynx were fighting off collapse, the Washington Mystics were staging something far more brutal. A complete dismantling of the Connecticut Sun. Final score? 104-67. Let that sink in. This wasn't just a win. It was a massacre, a statement, a full-blown detonation that shook the WNBA landscape. And at the heart of it all was Brittney Sykes, who played like a woman possessed. She dropped 28 points and hit 14 of 15 free throws, barely blinking under pressure. But it wasn't just the volume, it was the control, the poise. She dictated the pace from the jump and never let up. Every time Connecticut tried to rally, Sykes answered calmly, clinically, and without mercy. But here's what made it even scarier. This wasn't a solo performance. It was a team-wide execution so clean, it looked rehearsed. The Mystics had 5 different players contribute to a 10-0 run right out of the gate, then unleashed a second-half barrage that included an 11-2 burst and a final 16-2 knockout punch. These weren't just momentum swings, they were death blows. Connecticut never recovered. And remember, this was a team that entered the game with something to prove. People had written them off. Their season was teetering on the edge, but on this night, they didn't just respond, they redefined themselves. The Mystics didn't look like a struggling squad trying to find footing. They looked like contenders, ruthless, efficient, and suddenly terrifying. And as we peel back the layers, it becomes clear it wasn't just Sykes lighting it up. Washington's secret weapon might actually be their youngest pieces, and what they did next. Nobody saw coming. While Brittney Sykes was the undeniable star, it was the rookies who quietly flipped the narrative, and possibly the season, for the Mystics. Kiki Iriafen and Sonia Citron didn't just contribute, they delivered. Combining for 23 points, these first-year players injected the kind of energy that changes a team's DNA. Iriafen attacked the paint with zero hesitation, while Citron spaced the floor and played with the confidence of a veteran. Most teams hope their rookies can survive on the floor. The Mystics? Their rookies were thriving. When Citron buried a mid-range jumper in transition and Kiki bullied her way to the rim for a three-point play, it felt like a passing of the torch. This wasn't just depth, it was firepower. And that changes everything. Because now, Washington doesn't just have Brittney Sykes carrying the load. They've got layers, weapons coming off the bench that defenses can't plan for. You can't double the stars if the young guns are hitting shots and crashing the boards. More importantly, these rookies aren't playing scared. They're stepping into big moments, helping fuel scoring runs, and giving the Mystics flexibility on both ends of the court. That kind of fearless contribution turns a good team into a dangerous one, and the effect rippled across the roster. As Iriafen and Citron started to click, the entire team seemed to unlock. Washington didn't just look talented, they looked connected. The result? A team that didn't just win, they overwhelmed, outworked, and outpaced a Connecticut squad that had no answers. But that chemistry wasn't just about talent. It showed up everywhere. In their ball movement, their shooting, and especially in their efficiency. And the numbers from this game? They don't lie. The Mystics didn't just score. They operated like a machine. 57% shooting from the field. 24 assists on 38 made baskets. These aren't just stats, they're symptoms of something bigger. A team playing unselfish, intelligent basketball at the highest level. Every possession felt purposeful. The ball zipped around the court, finding the open shooter or cutting slasher with precision. This wasn't hero ball. It was team execution, and it's what turned a solid lead into a complete dismantling. Even more impressive? Dominance in the paint. Washington outscored Connecticut 56-24 inside. That's not just size, that's positioning, effort, and control. They bullied their way to high percentage shots, crashed the boards, and dictated every physical matchup. And speaking of boards, the Mystics crushed the glass, out-rebounding the Sun 42-22. That kind of rebounding gap isn't just rare, it's demoralizing. It means Connecticut couldn't get second chances, couldn't generate momentum, and couldn't stop Washington from resetting plays and making them pay. But what really stood out were the momentum-killing runs. After a quiet 4-4 start, the Mystics exploded with a 10-0 spurt, spreading the scoring across 5 different players. They struck again with an 11-2 two-burst early in the second half, and just when Connecticut thought they could salvage the night, Washington slammed the door with a 16-2 final run that felt like a sledgehammer to the chest. These weren't just runs, they were psychological blows. Each one widened the gap until there was nothing left for Connecticut to fight for. And while the Sun had brief moments of life, they were smothered every time they tried to breathe. But even in the middle of that disaster, one unexpected storyline quietly unfolded. A personal milestone that added a sliver of heart to an otherwise brutal night. For the Connecticut Sun, this game wasn't just a loss. It was a spotlight on everything that's gone wrong. Sure, Tina Charles showed up with 17 points, doing what she's done her entire career. Fighting, grinding, and trying to will her team forward. Marina Mabrey and JC Sheldon each chipped in with 15, offering flashes of offensive rhythm. But flashes aren't enough when the rest of the team is stuck in neutral. The Sun shot just 39% from the field. Their offense looked disjointed. Too many forced shots, broken possessions, and defensive lapses. They couldn't keep pace, couldn't respond to the Mystics' surges, and by the fourth quarter, they looked like a team out of answers. But in the middle of that collapse, there was one unexpected storyline that stood out. Not for stats, but for what it meant. Hailey Peters, at 32 years old, made her first ever WNBA start. That's not a typo. In a league dominated by young talent, Peters' journey is nothing short of rare. She went undrafted, bounced around training camps, played overseas, and refused to give up. And now, more than a decade after her college days, she finally heard her name in the starting 5. It didn't change the outcome of the game, but it added a moment of humanity, a reminder that every jersey on the floor carries a story. And on a night where Connecticut was outclassed in nearly every category, Peters' quiet milestone gave fans something else to talk about. Still, that one bright moment couldn't mask the bigger picture. The Sun are slipping, and questions are piling up. They've got the talent, the coaching, the pedigree. But right now, it's not clicking, and the rest of the league is pulling away fast. Meanwhile, the Mystics are headed in the opposite direction, surging with confidence, depth, and purpose. And as both teams walk away from this night with vastly different outcomes, the stage is set for something even bigger. Because if this week taught us anything, it's that dominance in the WNBA is real, but fragile. And the next chapter in this season could flip everything we thought we knew.